Hi everyone, Paula O'Sullivan here, making a video about our thoughts, our beliefs and the Court of Atonement, which is a spiritual practice that I'm currently using to help me clear different beliefs and stuff like that. I got into this work about 16 years ago, working with thoughts and beliefs through self-hypnosis, mindfulness meditation and using a breathing technique to make sure my mind was clear. I'll do a standalone video on that so people can learn about that in another video, but for now I just want to tell you the different thoughts I learned. This was all before the stroke I had, and coming up to the stroke I'm going to say I had a lot of ANTS and their automatic negative thoughts. Even though I'd done all that work with the pressures and stresses of life, I got myself back into a rut, which is a record of unhelpful thoughts, as I mentioned in another video. So I had got myself rightly stuck just before the stroke came on and paralysed me. So as we think in our mind, as I mentioned in other videos about unresolved mental and emotional conflicts, as we think in our minds, suddenly that can extend out into our life and become real. So we have to really be careful about the thoughts we think. Thinking thoughts have been stuck ended up with me being paralysed on my left hand side. Obviously there were other contributing factors as well, diet and lack of exercise as well. But we have to look at the mental and emotional aspects of this. We can't afford to disregard these, because from people I've spoken to, no one seems to know what exactly caused their strokes. There's very few people. I have to say I was a little bit different because of all the work I've done. When I started getting my mind back a little bit, I was able to say to people, I started telling them I know exactly what caused my stroke. Now I've been doing a lot of work. Obviously I'm a bit better at myself now. I'm 13 months on. Back into doing my mental and emotional work again, clearing many different systems, as I mentioned in other videos. So I'm aware now of what caused it, and now I'm backtracking, as you say, backpedaling. I'm saying, right, well, what caused the stroke? What has to change in my mind, with my thoughts, with my beliefs, to make sure I don't get stuck again? Because depending on the type of thoughts you have, so I had automatic negative thoughts, okay? So to have automatic negative thoughts, neural pathways have to be set. So you start saying to yourself things like, life is hopeless, life is pointless, you know, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling trapped, all of these things, I'm not good enough, all of these different things, or I don't have any power, I'm not empowered, I don't have any power in me to change my situation. If you were in an unhealthy relationship or an unhealthy dynamic situation in your family or something like that, which is kind of where I was. It was like, I don't have any power to change it, this is the way it is, I'm stuck. These are all the kind of thoughts that were going on, and I was ruminating and not able to move forward or anything like that. So I believe that these things do affect, as I mentioned in other videos, they do affect the energy flowing through your body, they affect the blood flow then at the worst situation, and you're going to have something happen to you. So I was eating too many sugars, I had too many stressful pressures and demands on me, and I just couldn't cope anymore. I'd gone into compassion fatigue. So that's where I was prior to stroke. So now like I said, I'm backpedaling now, and I'm trying to undo, you know, where I was. So I mean, I've changed my diet. I'm very, very focused on my exercise every day. I go walking every day with my rollator. I walk around the house with the stick. I do about 20 minutes of chair yoga and different exercises, standing up and going on my toes, using the rollator there that's behind me. I use what I have in the house to do exercises. So I'm doing everything I can to lessen the chances of another stroke happening. There's no guarantees with any of this. The more we can do, everything has a tipping point, and the more we can do to these things, you know, to make the chances better for us to have better health. That's all any of us can do, isn't it? So I knew from having scripts in my mind that there were certain things I used to always say to myself, like, this just the way it is, and nothing ever works out for me, and all these kind of different thoughts. We're not even aware of it, but when you start doing the breathing technique and you start practicing mindfulness, self-hypnosis, these thoughts suddenly become very clear to you. It's like Eckhart Tolle's books as well. He talks about watching the watcher, who's having the thoughts, and when you step back and detach slightly and you realise, hang on a minute, that's an interesting thought, but is that really my thought, or is that something I heard my mother say, or my father say, or my grandparents say? And I'm just repeating that, and I don't even think twice, and I've been doing it since I was a child. So a lot of the work I do is it's unraveling all of these different scripts we have and these different thoughts. So I just wanted to share with you about the Court of Atonement. Now she has a website. Her name is Amy Jo Ellis, and she has a website, courtofatonement.com, and she's a wonderful lady, and I'm on the Facebook group as well on a daily basis. And she has a couple of books that you can download off the internet and print them off yourself, and I think they're only $5 still. So it's really, I mean, for the value she's giving you. So this is, I'm just going to show you, this is in black and white, but it's colour on the website. I just downloaded these, printed them off, and I got them bound. So I've quite a few of these little books. And this one is the Court of Atonement Explained. So you can show it to you there. And she has a standard statement with this, and it's and you put your name there. I, Paula Sullivan, say, place myself, Paula Sullivan, into a full Court of Atonement with whoever it is. Say you have conflicts with someone in your family, or conflicts in your life, or something like that. And then you put it in with them, and then you ask to analyse our timelines and resolve any and all conflicts between us at their points of origin. And then I ask for amenable dissolution of this energy. That's the basic statement, and a lot of statements are longer and greater than that. You know, she also has, I have loads of binders here at home, and I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, beliefs. I have them all. I have a collection of beliefs here. So what it is, she has a wonderful thing on her website which you can download, and I just see if I can briefly show this to you. Sorry. Taking our power back, okay? And she has clearing statements and a change your belief statement. And then you can check the level of, with that, just to show you, sorry, I'm all, bear with me. Okay, what she has is, there's a way of checking, I was sharing in the last video, there's a way of checking things with a pendulum, which is, or with a sway test, with muscle testing, and that's our body's truth system. So I explained about that in my last video when I was talking about the emotion code and the body code. But on this she has, it's a chart at the very top. I don't know if you can see that there. See that chart? And it has like from -1 to -10 and from +1 to +10. And what I do is I go in with the pendulum. Say I have a belief, I'm not good enough. And I'll go in and I'll put the pendulum over that, and I'll say, what's the effect of this belief or statement upon me? And it might go into detrimental. It might go into -10 or somewhere along the minus. Then you know that's detrimental to you. If it's in the +1, +2, it's not that it's beneficial, but it's, you know, you can still work to clear it completely. It's still affecting you in some way. So, so that's that system that I'm using. So I go in with my pendulum. I'll grab my pendulum and show you again. Here we go. All right. So I would say, okay, I downloaded a thing called Core Negative Beliefs. You can get a collection of these on the internet. I can't remember, to be honest with you, it's before the stroke. I can't remember where I got that from, but I got it from somewhere. But on the internet there's lots of, if you look at CBT and that, they work a lot with core negative beliefs. So say I go in, there's a column A and a column B, and I will go in with my pendulum, or you can muscle test for this, and you ask, what core negative belief have I got to work with right now? And it might have, I'm no good. So I might say, that's, yeah, I'm going to get a yes for that. So I say, right, I'm no good. So that's a statement. So I'd go in then on this, got a mess today. I'd go in and put my pendulum over this chart, and the pendulum will actually move left or right depending. It'll go at a diagonal to tell me where is that belief on that chart. And then if it's detrimental, which it usually is, I get to use the change your beliefs statement there. She has it at the very bottom. She has a change your belief statement, and you're placing yourself, whatever your name is, with each and every level of your consciousness that believes that I am not good enough, into a full court of atonement with the entirety of my family lineages, God and my guides. And then I ask to analyse my timeline and resolve any and all reasons I believe that at their points of origin. And I ask to analyse my timeline and resolve any and all reasons I am no good. at their points of origin, and I ask for a manual dissolution of this energy, and I forbid this energy any further access to my body, my energy field, or my timelines. And then I go again, and I will check with the pendulum, and I will say, okay, what's the effect of that statement on me now that I am no good? And then it'll go into the beneficial side, and it's usually a +10 by the time I finish doing that work. It's just a way of clearing stuff. So I've used this for many different things. I have I also downloaded this is another woman's book. It's 1000beliefs.com, and she's got a lot of this is a different woman. She's got a lot of different beliefs, heart chakra, love and relationships, sacral chakra, creativity and sexuality, and all that. And there's root chakra there as well. Got root chakra, security and survival, and there's a load of positive and negative beliefs. So you can clear, with a pendulum, or with doing muscle testing, or even just becoming aware that you have these different beliefs. So again, you'd need to do the breathing technique at least to start clearing the stress levels out of your body, so you can think clearly. And once you can think clearly, you can start becoming aware of the things you say. And when you become aware of the things you say, maybe write them down in a notebook or something like that. Like, certainly to bring it relevant in after the stroke, it was like, it's pointless to try, was a big one that, while I was in hospital and rehab, I constantly had this thing in my mind, like, you're wasting your time, you're not going to get better, you're not going to be able to move, you're just knocking yourself out here. And I don't listen to thoughts like that in my mind. So I constant battles going on back and forth. And I mentioned in another video about this technique I have about, it's a Raymond Grace technique, and he suggests that you dip, in your mind, you imagine dipping a big paintbrush into a big tin of red paint, and you put a big X around those thoughts that are not serving you, that are not going to bring you to recovery or anything like that, or wherever you want to go. And I just push them to the side then. And I let them go down a little drain in my mind, and I do a little noise and everything like that, because I have a good sense of humour like that. So I do all these mental techniques. One is watching your thoughts, becoming aware of the thoughts and starting to write them down. What are these automatic negative thoughts? We're not even aware we're thinking of them half the time, but the subconscious mind is taking a record of everything. And they've done different tests on this. I have the books over there anyway. There's a book called Distant Mental Influence, and there's one called Mind Reach as well, and it was Stanford University, and they did many different tests on people thinking thoughts, sending thoughts in faraway cages and stuff like that, or Faraday cages. They could think a thought and actually affect the consciousness of another person, which is fascinating. So the concept of this is that when you're doing spiritual healing work, we can change things. We can, if say we have conflict with people, we can change things. We can put all of us and the conflict into a full Court of Atonement and ask for it to be resolved on that soul level. And amazingly, it can work. A family member the other day asked me, they're starting to meet with people, they're not meeting anyone meaningful, and they asked me would I do a full Court of Atonement to see could I clear up whatever was blocking them from meeting someone meaningful. And I said sure, I'll do it. So I did it in the evening time, and just a short one because I didn't have a lot of energy. I did a short one for them, and then the very next morning at 9 o'clock they woke up with a text from somebody that they'd met several weeks back briefly, and they wanted to meet up with them that day, and there's someone who they really get on with, and they came down and said to me, that's so fast, and I've used a Court of Atonement for other things, to clear conflicts and misunderstandings with people, to clear delays between things. A friend of mine was trying to sell an apartment, and she had an ex-partner was really antagonistic about it, and they were blocking the sale, and I did the Court of Atonement, and they're across the world. I'm in Ireland here, but they're across the other side of the world, and I did this for them. I did this Court of Atonement, and they managed to sell the apartment, no problem. Do you know what I mean? I've done this thing for lots of different people, so this kind of work can be done for your family members, it can be done for yourself. It's important that you know about thoughts though. If you identify the thoughts you have and they're not serving you. I mean, I'm no good is not a good thought to have. It's not going to bring me anywhere. It has affected me, it has crippled me, besides from the stroke, it has crippled me in more ways than one over my life. It blocked me from going further. I left school at 15. I went back when I was in my late 20s and I started doing little courses, but it blocked me. I had no self-esteem. I kept thinking I was no good. That was a script I got from childhood, from early childhood abuse. So it was a thing I kept telling myself, even though I didn't know, I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't aware of it till I started doing all of this kind of work, emotion code, body code, mindfulness, meditate, all that kind of stuff. That brought up, and a little bit of CBT as well, all that kind of stuff has brought this awareness up of those kind of thoughts that I had. So when I started working with these and moving them, then I was able to go back. I was 50 when I left school. I was 44 before I went and trained as a hypnotherapist. I had started doing this work on myself then, and that's when I actually started having some belief and confidence in the work I do in myself. And it's a continuing thing. There's always different layers of it. I've got rid of most of that I'm not good. But there's always something props up somewhere. You'll meet someone or meet a situation and it'll test you on it, and you say, right, now I know. Now I know I've got most of this work done because that's not affecting me anymore. I have confidence to even come on here and do a video and talk about the stuff that most people wouldn't hear about. They wouldn't hear about the Court of Atonement. They wouldn't hear about the emotion code, the body code, or stuff like that. They wouldn't hear about dowsing or pendulum alchemy or any of the other stuff that I do. So this is why I'm making these videos, because like I said, I had a stroke last year. I've done all this work before the stroke, and I want to recover as best I can. I want to do absolutely everything I can to get myself a little bit better and have better quality of life. Now, as I mentioned in other videos I've got both hands working again. So pretty good. The left one is the affected one. It's still very heavy, still very tight. I can force it to do things, but can't always. It's sometimes the spasticity comes in and I can't, and it's weak. It's not as strong. I can be strong, but not always. I can't sustain it over long term. But I mean, it's good quality of life. At least I can dress myself and I can eat with a knife and fork now. My leg, I'm still working on my leg. Can't really get far without the rollator or the stick at the moment. I hobble around the house, but I get very tired and I have to end up having to get the stick or the rollator. So I'm a work in progress with that. But again, it's my thoughts that are helping me with this, and my beliefs. So beliefs are just a thought you keep thinking over and over and over again, and you've been doing it probably a very long time, but then once something like a stroke comes in, then it's really going to knock your confidence. That's what happened to me. It's like everything I'd learned up to the stroke is like boom, out the window, and I've gone, now I had to relearn everything again. And then I reminded myself that, I got through so many different things before the stroke. The stroke was just another thing. I remember lying in the bed in the hospital, being fully paralysed, and lying there, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I was on the knife edge of despair most of the time. It's swinging between hope and despair. And I just remembered, because my mind wasn't working properly, but I did remember at one stage in my mind saying, hang on a minute, you've been in hell so many times and you climbed out of it. This is just another hell and you're climbing out of here, or you can stay here. And the thoughts of staying there was just unbearable to me. And I said, no, you've done this work before. Let's just try and get it back somehow. And I decided at that stage that this wasn't going to beat me, that I was going to do absolutely everything I could to get better, to get some kind of quality of life. I didn't know how far I was going to get. I didn't even know I'd get this far that I'm at today. I'm so happy where I am. I'm 13 months on now, and I'm very happy about where I am now. But I didn't think I'd get this far. I'm very, very happy that I have. So beliefs are just the thoughts you keep thinking over and over and over again. So if you become aware of your thoughts, you can think different thoughts. So you can say, instead of saying I'm no good, saying actually I'm perfectly good. If I try, I can just keep trying and I'll do the best I can. And that's it. We can just do the best we can. So I just said, it's not that I'm no good. What's no good about me? When I question it and I pull it apart, I say, show me the evidence that I'm no good. I don't see any evidence that I'm no good. Not now, I don't. But years ago, I kept seeing reinforcement of it, because everyone mirrors that back to you. It's like a level of consciousness, and it goes forward and people start mirroring back. So I was bullied a lot, abused a lot. in my earlier years, because I believed I was no good. I didn't believe I was good enough to do anything. I believe I left school, I'm a waster, I left school at 15 and all of that kind of stuff, and I just believed that about myself. But as I say, as I've changed my beliefs, I started saying, no, I'm actually, I'm not better than anybody else, I'm not worse than anybody, I'm a unique being, and I'm just me, and I'm just going to mosey through life and do the absolute best I can. And if I can help someone else to do the best they can too, I'm going to do that too. And that was kind of where I came to. When I was 44, I made that decision, and that was long before the stroke. I was 59 when I had the stroke. But it's the things you tell yourself. So I don't tell myself I'm no good anymore. I just say I'm absolutely doing the best I can with what I have, and when I know better, I'm going to do better. So that's if I ever have that thought that crops in occasionally, very rarely now, but sometimes that thought might pop, you're no good, or you're a waster. Or you're not doing enough, I just say, I'm doing my best with what I know now, and when I know better, I will do better. So, and this is what I do. So, one, identifying the thoughts. So you might want to keep a notebook handy. Be aware of those kind of thoughts that tell you can't do things that you want to do. And then counter it, argue with it, and just say, no, do you know what, I don't agree. I want to find the evidence of this. And then the evidence might be just people looking, and speaking to you, and you say, well, that just shows me where I am. So the only way of changing this is to, start thinking different thoughts. So I would use affirmations and stuff like that. I'll make another video on them, I think, altogether. But the easier way, because this is time consuming, and I don't know about you, I don't have an awful lot of energy since the stroke. It's like my battery's on very low most of the time. I have a small window in the morning where I have a little bit of energy, and then I go out for my walk, do household chores, do all the other things I have to do around the house and with my family and all the rest. And then I start going, and I have to have a rest. And then by the time I get up from my rest, then I don't have as much energy then in the afternoon. And then by the evening I'm gone, I'm in bed very early and everything like that. So there's a lot of energy involved in trying to identify automatic negative thoughts and fighting with them or arguing for a better solution, or even using affirmations to do better with that. Court of Atonement is a very, very good system, and she has many different classes, and you can clear many different things. There's a fantastic Facebook group you can go onto there as well, and I'm just astounded at this work. I use it most days for something or other. She has a thing called speed calls. Let me see if I can grab it. Sorry, I have a workstation beside me that's out of view here. I have a load of folders. You can download these things off her website. She has many classes. Let me see. These are speed calls, and what they are is different statements. They're different statements that she might have written 4 or 5 pages of statements for this thing to be cleared, and she'll just put it under a title. I'll just get the glasses back on again just to share one of them with you. So there might be there's one here, enhancing self-confidence. So you would do a speed call, and it asks the soul to analyse the timeline and resolve conflicts of the past that shook our self-confidence. And it helps resolve anxiety. So you would do this call, you would say, I, Paula Sullivan, place myself, Paula Sullivan, into a full court of atonement for the purpose of enhancing self-confidence. That doesn't mean you don't have to do any work on yourself, but if you keep doing these kind of spiritual practices, I find we become aware. We become much more aware then of where we're not supporting our self-confidence, or where we're not supporting feeling good enough. Or where we're defeating ourselves. The word can't was a word I got rid of early, back in 2009. I call myself the I can't kid, because I grew up with a family that my father mostly would say, you can't do that. I would say, but I'd like to try. And he'd go, no, you can't do that. You'll fail, or you'll fall, or something bad will happen to you. And that was the early script I had in my mind. And I kept repeating that, I can't, till I got to the age of 44. Like I said, I had the MS or lupus type illness, and that was another catalyst for me back then. Now that I don't have that anymore. I've overcome all of that. No symptoms or no signs, and none of the blood tests are showing anything like that now, but that was all showing up then. And I was the I can't kid, and I changed that. I always say, cut that T off can't and just say I can. I can if I want to. I will if I want to. Okay, so that's a statement I say to myself. I can and I will if I really, really want to. And if I don't want to, I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm just saying it's not for me. That's not what I want. So it's not that I can't do it. It's just I won't do it. I don't want to do it. I also took the must, the can'ts, and the shoulds out of my vocabulary. So now I don't tell myself all of those things, you know. I don't force myself. I do things because I really, really want to do them and because I'm enjoying doing them. I don't feel that pressure anymore that I have to do something. So I don't do I must. I should. I hate that word. I should do something. Oh, I should do this. I should be exercising. No, I'm going to exercise because if I don't exercise, my arm is going to seize up. And it has done. I had a few weeks where I went into a slump of just exhaustion. Absolute fatigue. I was trying so hard and next thing, boom. And the body says, I don't want you to do anything. I need to get better. You know, and I was going, oh, I should. But I said, no, should is banned. When my body gets enough rest, I'll get back up and I'll start doing those exercises. So I started bringing myself back slowly. And I'm still bringing myself back slowly. I'm not up to the level I was when I came out of rehab. I'm absolutely not, because I just don't have the energy. Because I have all the housework now to do on top of that. I have all other pressures from life that I didn't have when rehabilitation. Everything was looked after in there. When I come out, you've got a lot of things to deal with at home if you don't have home health, or if you're trying to look after a family as well. It's all back in on you, you know, and you have to gradually get yourself back in there. So I don't do shoulds, and I don't do musts, and I don't do I have to do this. I'm doing it if I want to do it, and if I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. And I'm not making any excuses. I'm very open and honest and direct. I don't have to make excuses. I just say, look, not able, sorry. The energy levels are down, the battery's down to 0, and I'm not able. And when I'm able, I'll come back. Sorry, I'm going to take a sip of water. So a lot of this work it's talking to yourself in a nice way, letting yourself off the hook when you need to be let off the hook. And as I said, just to sum it up now, because I'm rambling on a bit here in this one. So just every thought you think forms a neural pathway in your brain, and they become automatic pathways for thoughts, and you'll have automatic negative thoughts, and they're called ants. And you can't really get rid of those neural pathways, but you can form new ones. So you form new ones by thinking different thoughts. When you think different thoughts, you'll form new neural pathways, and they'll become positive, encouraging thoughts. So ants are the automatic negative thoughts, and pets are the positive, encouraging thoughts. Now you have a choice between either, and not everyone's going to have a day where they're always positive. It's not realistic, especially not after a stroke. We have too much to get back up. We've been knocked to the floor, and we have to get ourselves back up. I'm lucky that I didn't have aphasia, but I did have the paralysis, and obviously the mind is affected, the concentration's affected, the memory's affected. I've had a lot of work to get here, but anyone who has aphasia, then they have an extra lot of work to do. That's really hard. So wherever you are on your stroke, it's hard. You've been on the floor and you're trying to pull yourself back up, and that takes a massive amount of energy. The sugary foods drain our energy, something terrible. Caffeine drains our energy. Lack of exercise drains our energy. Just sitting at home doing nothing, just watching TV or scrolling on the phone all day, that is going to drain your energy. So I do these things minimally. I keep them small, short things. I mean, I like Facebook. I like watching Netflix. But I don't want to seize up, I'll be honest with you. So I make an effort. I get up every day. I go out for my walk. I do my chair yoga, my little exercises. I'm eating properly. I cut down on the sugary foods. I only have them about twice a week. I cut down on teas and coffees and stuff like that. I just have peppermint tea. And I'm mostly vegetarian anyway before the stroke, so I've just continued to eat mostly fruit and veg. That's my favourite foods. So like these are the things that affect your energy. And then trying to just organise yourself after a stroke is a nightmare. But what I found is, because I'm familiar with these systems anyway, but I find them very good because they do help clear your mind of, I call it emotional and mental baggage, and they're draining your energy. Having a thought that you're not good enough all the time, or that's pointless to try, that's not going to help you get better. And I remember when I was in rehabilitation, one of the the patient saying to me, you're too positive there, and because I was trying to get myself ready to get out of there. I didn't, I didn't mind the rehabilitation. It was where I needed to be at the time, but I didn't want to stay there, And through conversation, I would just try and turn things positively, and they were giving out to me for that. And I said, no, you can't stay positive all the time. I'm aware of that, but that negative mindset is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you where you need to go. So while we all have days where it's all too much, too tired to think, too tired to do anything, there are other days when I just kick myself back in and said, right, go, focus on the gratitude, focus on the appreciation. What can you do with the energy you have today, and how best can you utilize that? And that's the way I go from day to day with this. And I have made huge progress, because I'm 13 months on now, and I've made massive progress. And I hope that this time next year I'll be even further ahead. But if I'm not, I'm not. I'm just going to keep trying. So when you start clearing these thoughts and beliefs, and like that in the other video, the unresolved mental and emotional conflicts, you're going to free up the energy in your body. So the energy will move more, and the blood flow will move more freely through your body. And that has to help in our health. It helps with our immune system. I had an autoimmune illness. I no longer have an autoimmune illness. I was rejecting myself with that. I'm not good enough. That was a rejection of self. When you reject yourself, your body goes into fight and flight. It perceives a threat. So when your body perceives a threat, the immune system starts fighting itself, because it knows there's something fighting it, but it doesn't know what it is. So it starts fighting itself. So you get an autoimmune illness. That's what happened to me. So when I stopped rejecting myself, when I started, affirming that I was as good as anybody else, not better than, not worse than, but certainly a unique being. When I started not rejecting myself and just celebrating my uniqueness and doing the best I can with what I have right now, my body stopped going on the attack. It had nothing to attack. So if you can bring yourself into a place of peace with all of you, with all that has happened, where you are now, which is really difficult after a stroke, but it's a process. But if you can start removing beliefs and the thoughts that are not serving you, then you have a chance of moving forward, and everything can start working. Your body can start coming back into some form of homeostasis anyway. Now, this is a big disclaimer again. This is never meant, none of the stuff I'm sharing is meant to replace medical attention. You take your medications, you get your tests done, you do what you have to do. But this is all supplementary to this. You need both systems. We need a system that understands the mental and emotional contributing factors to illness, especially things like strokes, because nobody ever seems to know the answer. That's what I saw. And there was no conversation I heard where anyone said, we know definitely what caused your stroke. I didn't come across anything like that. So anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you. So it's Amy Jo Ellis anyway. I'll just show you one more time. Just one more system that I use. I use many different systems, and I'm going to share a few of them over the next while in the videos. So Court of Atonement, that's the explained one. She has Making Peace with Money, Making Peace with Your Past. She's a couple of different ones there. A wonderful website, a lovely lady, and a lovely Facebook group with very supportive people on there, able and willing to help anybody starting off with this, So have a look at it if you're interested, if it's something that catches your attention. As I say, I've used it for many different things. I use it most days for something or other. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting. Please feel free to give me some feedback or ask me any questions if you want. I'll share as much as my knowledge can help you with. And wishing you all a very blessed day. Take care. Mind yourselves.